Hello everyone, my name is Yang. Today I'm going to talk about electroreception in the Guiana dolphin, Scalia guianaensis. We know there are many different types of environment in the sea, and the operating range of the visual system underwater is quite often reduced by low light levels or turbidity. So mechanical senses like hearing, echolocation, and the perception of water movement become more important. Electroreception, which we can regard as a kind of mechanical senses, and it can be both active and passive. In active, the animal generates the electric field and senses the change of it, such as genotrophones. In passive, the animal senses the electric field generated by the prey, like catfish, paddlefish, and platypus. So now I want to talk about seals and toothed whales. Seals lack the biosonal system, so they use this vibrissae to detect their prey. And under the vibrissae, there's a lot of nerve cells and blood vessels, just like our hair. And we call it FACS. How about toothed whales? Toothed whales lose their vibrissae hairs after they're born. So we can see the hole like this. And we name the holes vibrissae crypts. So why they lose their vibrissae hairs? Scientists inferred that it may strengthen their biosonal system. These vibrissae crypts are often described as vestigial structures. That means they're useless now, like our wisdom tooth or body hairs. However, thermographic study of the vibrissae crypts in the Guiana dolphin suggests that they are functional sensory units. And this is what I say. This is a thermograph. Like FACS, spots of intense thermal radiation were found to be associated with each single vibrissae crypt. So to determine vibrissae crypts are truly functional sensory units or they are just vestigial structures, we investigate them histologically. Based on the morphological results, or we can say the difference of their structures and the feeding ecology of the Guiana dolphin, we developed the hypothesis that vibrissae crypts function as electroreceptors, and we'll test the hypothesis in a psychophysical experiment later. Okay, first we put a tissue sample in 4% per formaldehyde, and then they were sectioned into closed and sagittal, and transferred 7 micrometer slice. To observe it, the samples were stained, and then the sections were examined with the light microscope. Behavioral detection threshold. Thresholds mean the minimum level to react. And let's look at this picture. This is the experimental setup for psychophysical experiment. And we train the dolphin to station itself in the device by placing its head in a hoop and touching a small target with the tip of its mouth. So we can see here, the electrode were located exactly above the vibrissae crypts. And the dolphin was trained to stay at this device for at least 12 seconds if there's no stimulus, and to leave if the stimulus was present. And the tests were conducted by one trainer and one experimenter. Following a random order, the experimenter did or did not apply the stimulus. And after the trainers indicates the response of the dolphin, the experimenter tells him whether he applied the stimulus or not. And if his decision is correct, the trainer will reward the dolphin. For example, if the trainer said the dolphin lives, and the experimenter said he did apply the stimulus, that means the dolphin doing a great job, so the trainer then reward the dolphin the food or something. We use staircase method to determine the dolphin sensory threshold. For each of 6 stimulus strengths, 31 trials were performed, 186 trials totally. For control, the experiment was repeated with the vibration crisp covered by a plexi shell. 40 trials were performed at the stimulus strength above threshold. Let's see what we found. This is the picture of the vibration crisp, and we can see it consists of an ampulla-shaped invagination of the skin. This is ampulla shape, and invagination is under the skin like this. It lacks most of the characteristic morphological feature of FACS. That means it is correct that we name the host vibration crisp instead of FACS. And we can see here, there is something in this expanded lumen, and these are corneal sites. Corneal sites, just like a shell, cover our skin and protect us. The vibration crisp were surrounded by a lot of blood vessels, and this is the increased temperature seen in the previous thermograms. This is why we see the increased temperature seen in the previous thermograms. Let's see the picture first. Here is this is the experiment result, and x-axis is electric field, and y-axis is the percentage of correct choice. And we can see black circles and white circles. Black circles means hit rate. White circles mean false alarm. For example, if the dolphin leaves the station correctly in response to the stimulus, we'll mark it black. But if the dolphin leaves mistakenly when no signal was presented, we'll mark it white. And at 50% hit rate, the dolphin's detection threshold is defined. The dolphin's sensory threshold was determined at 4.6 microvolt, and we conclude that the dolphin's response were due to electroreception. Based on the psychophysical results, we conclude that during evolution, vibration system has functionally transformed from mechanoreceptive system into an electroreceptive system. The histological investigation demonstrates that besides their simple structures, the vibration hair and the vibration crisps have a dense innervation and blood supply, also supporting our hypothesis that they are functional structures. In both monitoring and vibration crisps, we found their nerve endings are similar, and this feature is not known in any FAC-derived structures like vibration crisp, but is believed to be the basis of electroreception in the platypus and echidna. Thanks, guys.